my bench today I have a Gibson J-185, one of my favorite guitars of all time and certainly a cool looking guitar. It's a great guitar for fingerstyle and strumming. You'll also notice the classic Gibson Sunburst, which is something we'll have to pay close attention to when repairing this guitar. This guitar has a reverse tongue extension, which is something that I've noted that many repairmen like to remove during the neck setting process, but I think it should be left, and I'm definitely going to be replacing this as I do the neck set on this guitar. First, I'm going to go ahead and remove the strings and get them out of the way. Then I'm going to remove the plastic inlays so they aren't damaged during the neck setting process and put them on some tape so they can go back in the right spot. Also, I'll number the bridge pins so they can go back into their correct holes. Then I'll heat up the tongue extension so that I can loosen up the glue and slowly loosen the tongue. Then I'll remove the first fret past the body so I can get at the neck joint, and then drill an access hole so I can get some steam down into the dovetail joint. This is a jig that I made for removing necks. It just applies pressure on the heel as I apply the steam. Once the steam is steamed off the neck, I can go ahead and clean it up and start the neck setting process by first clearing the wood on the inside of the heel and then start to make the new angle on the neck to increase the neck pitch. Then I'm going to have to make the tongue extension. I'll run it through the time saver to get it down to 50 thousandths, and then I can cut out and shape the new tongue extension. I'll just glue it to the bottom of the tongue with some cauls and clamps just to make sure it cures correctly, and then slowly start shaping it with the chisel by removing the excess on the sides and creating the wedge. As you can see, it fits nicely into place as I increase the neck set. Then I'll fit the dovetail, tape off the binding so that I can spray some black around it to make it look like the classic burst, and then set the neck and clamp it into place. Now I can clean up the area on the fretboard to replace the inlays, and I can also replace this chip along the way and then hammer the new fret back in, and it has a great look. It looks like it's never been touched. I can go ahead and dress the frets. Now I noted that the bridge is loose, and the first thing you want to note about Gibsons is they have a inlay, which means there's a screw there, so that screw will have to be removed. I just reach inside with the socket and take the screw out and then slowly lift the bridge up. And as you'll notice, this thing came up with no wood loss, and I leave the screws right in. I mix up a little bit of high glue and I just clamp it back into place. Once the bridge is set, I go ahead and I put the screws back in and the nuts and just clamp her down. Then I can refit the bridge pins. I'm not quick to grab an airbrush. I just like to brush a little lacquer on that neck joint and then keep sanding it until I get a classic look. Then buff it. This way I don't end up with a whole bunch of new lacquer on the guitar, and I can get a nice vintage look on the heel. And if you'll note, the inlays look like they've never been touched. I'm very conservative there, and the tongue extension looks great.